Hey kids, and welcome to the show. Today I'm going to be talking to you guys about talking to your kids about war. War is a very scary thing, especially when our kids see a side of war that is dramatized and possibly very unrealistic. Now, today we wait in anticipation to see what is going to happen in Ukraine. And we know that there's bombs flying and things are bad. And our children don't exactly know what to make of it. And they're being bombarded with this on their devices, their iPads, Kindle, whatever you have. You are getting bombarded with propaganda. And propaganda works both ways. We are seeing both Russian propaganda, Chinese propaganda. Well, I said both, but U.S. propaganda. All three. There are three types of propaganda happening currently. So what do we need to deal with when we're moving forward and talking to our children? Well, we have to understand a little bit about what's going on and how it is going to affect us. Number one, war is bad. It's a bunch of poor kids going to war to fight for a bunch of rich people. There's no other way to look at it. Poor people die for rich people. And yes, there are a couple rich people that go into the military and vice versa. However, as a general rule, we send the sons and daughters of the poor, the peasants, to fight in these wars. And they all track back to money. Now, without going into too much analysis, because that's not really what's important here, just keep in mind that when we look at any event, we have to look to the past, the present, and the future, and try to decide what's best. Well, let's look at the past. We know that we've had a Cold War. Soviet Union collapsed back in the 80s. Remember that? Gorbachev, tear down this wall. Well, things were going good. NATO put in some leadership and all that fun stuff. Well, Vladimir Putin doesn't like that. And he wants to take Ukraine back because Ukraine has a president that was installed by NATO. That's basically it. And he wants it back. There's a bunch of propaganda both ways, but bottom line, Ukraine has a lot of resources that Russia wants, that the United States wants, that China wants. And so they're going to be the center of this. Russia has started attacking different cities and with aerial attacks, and China has lowered sanctions so that they can supply Russia with food for their troops. This is what could be described as the next World War. So we are looking at World War III. So how do you talk to your kids about looking at World War III? And God, I hope I'm wrong. But everything looks to some bad stuff down the road. And by bad stuff, I mean the killing of our young men and women in uniform. So what do we have to look forward to? Well, China is encroaching on Taiwan. Taiwan manufactures most of our chips. It's where we get our computer chips and stuff for your cars, your phones, all that stuff. And China wants Taiwan. If China gets Taiwan, they will control basically all the microchips in the world because we don't have those plants here in the U.S. So while Russia is attacking Ukraine, China is touching the borders over Taiwan, and we are trying to do diplomacy, which is great. I love diplomacy. That's great. I would much rather diplomacy than boots on the ground. However, there are already boots on the ground. We have troops sent to Poland. Things don't de-escalate. There's no scenario in the world where President Putin is going to come out and say, "Hey, I think I was wrong." And I did a terrible accent, but I think I was wrong. So I think everything should be nice and everybody should get along and I will leave everybody alone. And that's just not going to happen. We are beyond the point of no return. So what do? We analyze. This is what we did in the military. This is what I did in the military. This is fun, right? What are our risks? What are our liabilities? Well, it's easy because I have the same access to information that you guys have. And what I know is New York and California have terrible gun laws, which means not a lot of their citizens are armed, which also means if you're going to have a land attack, those are the two places you're going to attack. New York, California. Your population's not armed. And then you're probably going to want to do some things down in the Midwest. The majority of veterans that have picked up volunteer arms in the United States are absolutely higher than any other military in the world. We have more trained veterans that love their country than any other military. And I say that because like China, they have more soldiers, but they're not a volunteer military. Everybody has to serve. So when you have an all volunteer military, you have a great set of men and women who are very well trained. And we're looking at about 10% of the U.S. population are veterans. And most of those veterans are armed and trained. So know that when you are in a population of people, the more veterans you have there, the more protection you have there. Also, your proximity to military bases and installations and what they do there. So think about what military base is near you, because some of those may get attacked. Some of them may not. So think about that. Also think about what strategic advantages there is of taking a particular area. Like Louisiana, for example, strategic advantage. It's on the shore. It's really easy to take. It also has the Delta. If there's an EMP or the grid goes down, the Mississippi River can be used to transport goods up and down. And we'll have to have some truck drivers to move it around. But we do have the ability to move goods up and down the Mississippi River. Very difficult, but possible. Florida's just kind of out there flapping in the wind. That's kind of scary, but we also have military installations in Cuba and Puerto Rico that will protect Florida. However, there's some really crazy weapons out there now, so we just don't even know what's available. We're thinking World War II weapons, and we are living in 2022. Weapons are much more advanced now, and both more deadly and less deadly. So let's hope that these new weapons are less deadly, but they could also impact us in a bad way. So how did I discuss this with my kids? And this is it. This is what I told them. I said, kids, your mom and dad made some decisions to move us to where we're moved. We have done everything we can to prepare ourselves. And right now there's some bad people in the world doing some bad things. And we are going to war. And that's going to mean some stuff for us. Number one, you're going to start seeing a whole bunch of crap on TV. You're going to start seeing crap on your YouTube because you're going to see advertisements, because the kids at 8 years old have to use their iPads for school and they will get advertisements. So you're going to start seeing some stuff. Some of that stuff is going to be scary. Some of that stuff is going to not be so scary, and you're going to have a lot of questions. So what are your questions? I explained to them that they are safe because in the Midwest or in Oklahoma, Texas, we're not on a coast, and we have a ton of security. We have access to food. If the supply chains break down, we can go to the farmer's market because we don't live in a city. Now, if you live in a city, things might get a little hairy, because even if the war doesn't come to you, it may come to you by way of supply chain disruptions. Now, personally, and this is my opinion, I'll probably get tagged for this, but I find it really convenient that they are screaming that the war is going to cause supply chain issues, when I did a video, and I will tag that at the end of this video, already talking about how the supply issues were jacked up. So please go watch that video. Like I said, I'll link it at the end of this video. So they are doing supply issues. So what do you do? What do you do as a parent? You hug your kids and tell them, number one, you're going to be safe. Number two, this is what we did to prepare. For us, we said we have food because food's going to get expensive. And they said, what do you mean food's going to get expensive? And I said, well, we're not going to be able to just go to the store and buy every toy that we want. You know, I explained a toy to my son, and I explained this to my son. He's like, you mean I can't get my Dinobots? And he was really upset. But he wasn't really worried about the war thing that I am. As a veteran, I always worry about that. And I worry about the troops coming home, because I'm still holding the shoulders and talking to soldiers from Iraq and Desert Storm, Operation Enduring Freedom. There are scars that go so deep that you will never be able to see them in some cases. And this is going to be another case of young people heading to really what I think is a war that is for the hearts and minds of people. That's it. Everybody's trying to say they're the best. And the reality is all these wealthy people are extracting as much wealth as possible. So what you can do is not fall for their traps. Number one, don't get into more debt, because they're trying to get you into more debt. They're going to get you into more debt. If you took one of those COVID loans for your house, you now have a lien on your house by the government. Check that out. They want you to be in debt. They want you to lose your home so that they can give you a government program and help you find a home. This is the end game. The end game is for everybody to live in a pod, eat bugs, and be happy and own nothing. That's the Great Reset. That's the Carl Schwab thing. Yeah, it's conspiracy, whatever. But if I were going to try to destroy our economy, I would definitely shut down all my oil production. I would request oil production from other countries. I would do everything that this president has done if I wanted to destroy this country. I'm hoping that he steps back and says, well, that wasn't the greatest thing. Come on, man, or something. But so far, as is most people, the response from this administration has been pretty sad, because it's not the response of the American people. What we want to do is know that we love our allies and we're there. Right now, the whole world is in a crap hole because they spent so much money. Everyone's trying to make excuses for their inflation. And we can't just all say, guess what? We were in a global pandemic created by a bunch of wealthy people, and everybody is in debt now because of it, because they made some really poor decisions. And we should arrest them all. Yeah, I think they should all be arrested. And it doesn't matter what party you're in, but a lot of people should be arrested for what happened over the last 2 years. And unfortunately, we're not going to see any of those people arrested. It's just going to be a bunch of silly stuff. So what you need to tell your kids: love your neighbor, keep learning, keep learning something new. Like the other day, I learned how to make milk out of oats. You can make a very good milk substitute out of oats, rolled oats. That was pretty fun. Learn something new. And know that your skills are going to be more and more important. Inflation is about to hit all-time highs. And it hits all-time highs every week now. But it's going to hit some numbers that we can't even imagine, because they're prepping us for it, which means it's already happened. Step back and watch. Right now is a good time to invest in cryptocurrency. I think so. That's my opinion. And next week, I will have an opportunity for you to invest in cryptocurrency through a new company that we're going to be affiliated with. I'm really excited about that. And I'm going to do a whole show on cryptocurrency and how that is going to play into the upcoming war that we see ourselves in. So, what do we tell our kids? We tell our kids the truth. There are a bunch of people doing things that are bad, and other people are trying to stop them, and we are sitting back doing our best. So get yourself out of debt. If you haven't gotten out of debt yet, learn yourself a skill that's going to be valuable when nothing else is. And by all means, stock up a little bit. Just a few weeks. You don't have to go all doomsday and have 10-year food bunker, but 3 weeks, as I've always said, get yourself 3 weeks of food: rice, beans, peanut butter, things that will be shelf stable and will last you for 3 weeks, because supply shortages are coming. It's just the way it is. And as those supply shortages come and we don't have that milk, or we don't have those eggs, or we don't have that stuff in those big stores, we can sit back and watch our cryptocurrency go click, 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 because eventually we'll have to order all our stuff from Amazon. It's horrible. But we are in the midst of something ugly, and unfortunately only the wealthy are going to survive this one. As far as businesses are concerned, if you own a small business, cut your cost right now. Just cut your cost. pull back your menu items from 10 to 5, whatever you need to do. Cut your cost by 40%, and you will survive the inflation that's coming. But if you own a restaurant and you can't cut your cost by 40% within a few weeks, it's going to be hard. And that includes everyone. Food costs are going up, oil prices going up, everything's going to be more expensive. Guys, you need to make up 40% of your income immediately, and then you will be ready when the time comes to tell your family, don't worry, mommy and dad made a plan. So until next time, work hard, be kind, and have fun.